It was nearly dark when Maddie and her boyfriend Trent veered off the main highway in rural Kentucky. The gas gauge hovered near empty, and the GPS had long since lost signal. "This road doesn't even show up on the map," Trent muttered, squinting at the cracked windshield. "But it's supposed to be a shortcut." Maddie frowned. "Why not just wait till we hit the next town?" "We've passed 2 ghost towns already. We'll be fine," he said. The road wound deeper into the woods, narrowing into a gravel path. Trees closed in tight as if trying to block their way. Then came the sign, hand-painted on splintered wood, dangling from a rusted wire. "Welcome to Hollow Hill." Below it, the holler carved in red letters. Not paint, something darker. Maddie stared. "That doesn't look right." Trent just laughed and kept driving. But 10 minutes later, the car sputtered, gasped, and died. No signal. No lights. "Just perfect," Maddie hissed. In the distance, a faint orange glow flickered. A house. Part 2. The house on the hill. They approached the house slowly. It stood 3 stories tall, worn from rain and rot, with boards hanging off the porch and a lantern swinging from a nail. A stuffed scarecrow slouched on a rocking chair out front, its burlap face torn open in a ragged grin. Before Trent could knock, the door creaked open on its own. "Hello," Maddie called. No answer. They stepped in. The air inside was warm, but stale, like rotting wood, and something metallic. On the walls were faded photographs, black and white portraits of a family. In each picture, the family stared straight at the camera, faces expressionless. Only their eyes seemed to follow you. "Let's just find a phone and go," Maddie said. A sudden noise above them, a dragging sound, like someone pulling something heavy across the floor. They froze. Trent called out again. "Hello?" Footsteps. Then silence. "I think someone's up there," he whispered. They should have run. Part 3. The man in the mask. The kitchen had an old rotary phone on the wall. Dead. There was a door near the fridge, slightly ajar. Trent opened it. "Basement." "Nope," Maddie said. But he was already heading down. There might be fuel or something. The stairs creaked under his weight. Maddie waited at the top, fidgeting. The smell down there was worse, like wet fur and copper. Then came a sound. Thunk. Then silence. "Trent," she whispered. Thunk. A wet dragging sound followed. Maddie backed away from the basement, her eyes locked on the open door. And then, a figure appeared. It stepped into the dim light. Tall, shoulders hunched, wearing a stitched mask made of leather, with mismatched button eyes and a sewn-shut mouth. In one hand, a meat hook, the other, dragging Trent by the ankle, limp and bloodied. Maddie screamed and bolted. Part 4. The family returns. She ran upstairs blindly. Every step screamed betrayal as they creaked beneath her. Behind her, the man's footsteps echoed, slow but steady. She found herself in a long hallway lined with rooms. Doors stood open, each one leading to scenes out of a nightmare. In one room, a child-sized mannequin hung from the ceiling by its arms, face carved with runes. In another, a wedding dress soaked in blood, draped over a skeletal frame. Maddie ducked into a room and slammed the door. It locked with a rusty click. She backed away, into a mirror, but her reflection didn't move. It smiled, and in its hand, the same meat hook. She turned. Nothing there. When she looked back, the mirror was now a window. Outside, on the lawn below, stood the family from the photographs. Only now they were alive, motionless, staring up at her. And behind her, the closet door creaked open. Part 5. Hollow Hill's Secret. Maddie woke up in the basement. Her hands were bound. A dim light swung overhead. Around her, old VHS tapes lined the walls, labeled by date. One was marked with her name. Today's date. She screamed. A rasping voice from the shadows spoke. "Welcome home." It was a woman. Ancient, dressed in black, skin like parchment. This house feeds on stories. People don't disappear. They become part of the story. You've been chosen. You wandered into the holler. That means you're family now. Maddie shook her head. I'm not like you. The old woman's eyes gleamed. You'll see. She motioned, and the masked man stepped forward with a blade. But before he reached her, boom! A sound from upstairs. Then another. Gunshots. Shouting. A second later, the basement door burst open. A man, scruffy, wild-eyed, charged in with a shotgun. Get away from her! He shot the masked man in the shoulder. The creature staggered. Come on! He yelled at Maddie, cutting her loose. We don't have much time. They ran. Part 6. Escape or not? The man led her through a tunnel behind the basement. Name's Jacob. I escaped this place 5 years ago. I've been waiting for a way to end it. They emerged into the woods. The woods had changed. Every direction they turned, the same trees, the same fog. Maddie's phone buzzed once. Text from Trent, but he was dead. The message said, "Let it in." She looked up. Jacob was gone. In his place, the old woman. You ran, but it always comes full circle. The trees fell away. Maddie stood again before the house. On the porch, the scarecrow now wore Trent's face. Part 7. The last tape. They found her 3 weeks later, wandering the highway. Eyes vacant. Clothes soaked in blood that wasn't hers. She never spoke. In her motel room, police found a single VHS tape. It was labeled, Maddie, Final Cut. They played it once. It showed everything. The house, the man, family, the deaths. The last scene showed the detective who had just pressed play, standing in the motel room, on screen, watching the tape, just like now. The screen turned black. Then the detective vanished, and the motel room was empty. The tape now waits in evidence, labeled simply, Hollow Hill, do not watch. Someone always does.